Welcome to week 23. This is our last week together because next week you're doing the presidents and you're not going to need me anymore. But hopefully you're moving on to bigger and better things over the summer, and maybe I'll see you again next school year. Before we get started, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, you can do so by clicking the little red subscribe button down in the corner and click the bell next to that to notify you when new videos come up, and then we can totally still stay in touch. And you can know when videos come out and things that'll help you, like when I sit down and talk to homeschool parents from all over the country, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. That's so awesome. So there you go. Also, if you don't already follow us on Facebook and Instagram, you can find us at WanderStruck.Family right here. Follow along on our homeschooling adventures as we travel and explore. We try new things, we try new products, we share practices that we love that are tried and true. And really, we just want to enrich and make your homeschooling experience better, easier, and more enjoyable. So, with that said, let's get started. If you don't already know, I'm going to give you more signs than you need for the events in the timeline, and that's okay. I just want you to pick the ones that are most helpful to help you remember the event. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed or like you have to fit them all in. Pick the one that you find fun, the one that helps to relate that event to what you think of, and that'll help you to remember what's next in the series in the song. Basically, we want to make it fun, so let's do that. Okay, week 23, here we go. Age of information and globalization. And this one's fun. So the age of information and globalization is a time period. So we're going to assign time, right? We're going to point to the wristwatch on our wrist. So the time period of information. This is fun because you're going to take the information that's in your brain and go, right? It's like just explodes out. So the age of information and globalization. It gets all over the world. So we're going to assign W's, we're going to stack them, and we're going to rotate them. All right? So it's the age of information and globalization. Watergate and President Nixon resigns. So we can sign Watergate. Again, it's a name. So when we sign names, we just pick the first letter from the name. So we're going to sign a W. So Watergate. President, we've signed this before, but we make the C's with our hands and then put them in front and pull out. Doesn't matter if they're stacked any specific way. This is totally fine, and anywhere in this region, and then we pull out, okay? So President Nixon. So to sign Nixon, we're going to fold our two fingers over our thumb. President Nixon resigns. So for resigns, kind of make a little cup with your hand, and then somebody's standing in that cup, and then they remove themselves. Okay, so he resigned. He removed himself. All right, so Watergate, President Nixon resigns. The fall of communism in Eastern Europe. So the fall, it was a fail. That's why it fell, right? It's fall. So we're going to sign fail. So we're going to put one hand flat. The other hand, you can either do a V or you can do an F for fail. And we're just going to flick it across our other hand. So fail, the fall of communism. We've signed communism before. It's the fist up in the air. So like this, or it's the crescent with the sheath going through. So it's the fall of communism in Eastern. We're going to sign an E. And we're going to pull it across, so Eastern Europe. So keep that E and then put it right up here by your temple and rotate it. All right? So it's the fall of communism in Eastern Europe. And then you can keep that E because we're going to say European Union formed, so European. Now Union is signed like this, but formed is signed like this. So we're actually going to switch those when we sign them. So we're going to say the European formed union. So we're not doing like, union formed. It's just as redundant. So make it easier, right? We're making it easier on ourselves. That's the whole point. So the European Union formed. Apartheid abolished in South Africa. So there's a couple of different ways to sign apartheid, but basically we are referencing racism. So specifically, there's a couple of signs for racism. Previously, racism was signed like skin, color, and then an X'd out. But a new sign has been created because there's more than just skin racism. And so to do that, we take our hand, we make an R, and we cross it out. Okay, so racism. So apartheid, abolished. Abolished like stopped. So we're going to put our hand out, we're going to say stop, and then finished. Okay, so apartheid abolished in South Africa. So South is like East when we signed East, but we're going to sign it South. So we're going to sign an S and we're going to pull it down, right? So South. And then Africa, we haven't signed that in a while. We're going to trace the shape of Africa or the continent of Africa with our hands. All right, apartheid abolished in South Africa. September 11th, 2001. To sign this one, we're going to show the sign for airplane, which typically you would sign airplane. But we're going to do it with these two fingers to resemble two airplanes. So September 11th, 2001, we're going to put our hands up to show the Twin Towers and then crumbling down. So September 11th, 2001. Rising tide of freedom. So we're going to show like a tide, like a tidal wave, that rising coming up, rising tide of freedom. We've signed freedom before, or like to break free, but to sign freedom, we're going to put F's and then we're going to cross those fingers and break them free. So the rising tide of freedom. There you go. It's been a pleasure spending the year with you. I wish you nothing but the best and hope to see you again in the future. Take care.